You are 22 feet from the most powerful person on Earth. You've been standing in the same spot for 4 hours. Your feet stopped hurting somewhere around hour 2. That numbness is not weakness. It is, as you'll eventually understand, the first thing this job teaches you. Most people picture this job as motion. Motorcades. Rooftop snipers. The running alongside the limousine you've seen in every photograph from 1963. And it's the 1963 part that matters. Because here is the fact at the center of everything you're about to live through. In 160 years, this agency has failed exactly once. Once. In 160 years. The math on that is extraordinary. The cost of that math is everything this video is about. Every drill, every missed birthday, every marriage that won't survive the rotations. Every protocol written in the shape of an afternoon nobody has ever stopped trying to unhappen. 10 levels. 23 years. This is the architecture of a promise built around a single failure. And the people who build it anyway, level by level, until there's nothing left to give. This is the climb. Level 1. The Uniformed Division Officer. You're 22 years old. Starting salary, $53 a year. Your post is the gate. Not inside the gate, at the gate. 16 steps from the most photographed building in the country. And nobody is photographing you. You have a TS/SCI clearance, body armor, and an HKMP5 under your jacket. The tourists ask you where the bathroom is. You tell them, it's good public relations. Here is the piece of history that didn't make the orientation briefing. The Secret Service was signed into law on July 5, 1865. The same afternoon Lincoln's paperwork crossed the desk. Lincoln had been shot 4 months earlier. The agency was not created to protect him. It was created to fight counterfeit currency. For the next 40 years, protecting the president wasn't in the mission. It was only after President McKinley was shot at a public exhibition in Buffalo in 1901 that Congress added it. And then, 62 years later, Dallas happened anyway. This is how institutions work. They are not designed from the top. They are rebuilt, piece by piece, after the pieces fail. You don't know yet that you're going to spend your entire career as one of those pieces. Your family asks what it's like to work at the White House. You tell them it's mostly standing. They assume you're being modest. You're not, you're being exact. That's level 1. Level 2. The Special Agent Trainee. You're 25 years old. James J. Rowley Training Center. 6 months. Firearms qualification 3 times a week. Emergency medicine. Surveillance detection. Defensive driving on a closed course that makes the Beltway feel meditative. Then, week 3. A room. A foam mannequin in a chair. They call it the protectee. A threat pops from one of 6 positions. Every time, your job is not to draw first. Cover. Evacuate. Put your body between the threat and the chair. You run it 68 times over 3 weeks. On the 68th, something changes. The threat pops and you move before it registers. Not thought, reflex. The scenario hasn't finished arriving and your body has already answered. That moment is what 6 months produces. What nobody says in the training room. This drill didn't exist before November 22, 1963. The after-action review from Dallas described agents who hesitated. A system that thought before it moved. These 68 repetitions are the direct institutional response to that pause. You're not just learning to protect a president. You're learning to correct a mistake made before you were born. The training manual calls this protective instinct. What it is, the agency's attempt to wire the reflex it didn't have in Dallas into every agent's nervous system. At $58 a year, federal dental included. The mannequin does not thank you. That's level 2. Level 3. The field office special agent. You're 28 years old. Here is the part the movies cut entirely. You're investigating financial crimes, wire transfer fraud, a counterfeit currency ring operating out of 3 convenience stores in Northern Virginia. This is what 60% of your next 8 years looks like. A beige conference room and a suspect who keeps asking about his lawyer. The Washington field office has 450 agents. On any given day, maybe 30 are on active protection. The other 420 are doing exactly this. Financial forensics, cyber fraud task forces, identity theft operations. The original mission, the one from 1865, before Dallas rewrote everything, is still more than half the work. You are a forensic accountant with a federal badge and a considerably better parking pass. Some of your college friends went into investment banking. They make $220 a year and look precisely as tired as you do. The difference is they can explain their job at dinner, without watching the other person's eyes go flat and carefully polite. Every 6 weeks, a protection rotation list goes up on the bullpen board. You check whether your name is on it. For 3 years, it isn't. You check anyway. That's level 3. Level 4. The advance agent. You're 32 years old. 72 hours before the president arrives anywhere, you're already there. Every corridor, every loading dock, every fire exit, blind corner, kitchen entrance, and maintenance shaft. You brief the local police captain. You brief the building engineer about the HVAC returns. Because in 1995 a threat was identified through an air duct. And the service does not let facts like that age out. Advance work is where protection actually happens. Not in the motorcade, not on the rope line with the cameras. Here, in an empty building at midnight, counting seconds. 11 seconds from the main stage to the secured exit. If it's not 11 seconds, the staging changes. This standard exists because in November 1963, the motorcade route was finalized 48 hours before the event. The advance protocol at the time was 6 pages. Today it is 412 pages. You are, in some sense, every lesson that didn't exist yet when those 6 pages were written. The venue coordinator thinks you're being overdramatic about the kitchen entrance. You've read the threat assessments. You are not being overdramatic. You smile, say thank you, and walk the kitchen entrance again. Your sign-off goes to Washington tonight. You have confirmed everything 14 times. That's level 4. Level 5. The PPD candidate. You're 35 years old. The Presidential Protective Division does not post openings. There is no application. What happens is, your supervisor asks if he can put your name forward. That conversation is the entire process. 250 agents protect the president at any given time. To join them, you don't apply, you're selected. The distinction is not subtle. 11 days of psychological evaluation. 3 days of physical recertification. You pass both. You've been building toward this for 10 years without a clear name for what you were building. The selection just gave it one. The senior agent who delivers the news has been on PPD for 7 years. He's been married once. He is currently not. His kids use his first name. Dad requires a familiarity you can't build on a protection schedule. He says this the way someone notes a weather pattern. Factual, no complaint. You shake his hand and say nothing about the first name. You've noticed that the agents who last longest in this job share one specific quality. They've stopped calling the cost a cost. They've recategorized it into something without a name. You don't know yet what you'll call it when it's your turn. You'll find out. That's level 5. Level 6. The PPD agent. You're 38 years old. You are 4 feet from the President of the United States. This is how it actually feels. Nothing. Not awe, not reverence. Not the thing movies prepare you for. What it feels like is every sense operating at absolute maximum. Simultaneously. With no volume control. Rope line. Crowd distances. 2 radio channels. The 60-year-old man shaking 400 hands. None of it feels like separate activity. It's one continuous calculation that doesn't stop. You don't make eye contact with the protectee unless spoken to first. You don't initiate contact. You're not in the room as a person. You're in the room as a function the room requires. There is a difference between near the room and in it. A difference you couldn't have explained from the outside. You understand it now. The weight isn't the proximity. The weight is knowing that if this moment goes wrong, you're the reason it went wrong. Your daughter turned 4 last week. You were in Phoenix. The most recognized person in the world passed 18 inches from your left shoulder twice today. Tonight, you'll describe it to your wife as fine. If she picks up, you say fine. She says good. Neither of you mentions Phoenix. That's level 6. Level 7. The shift leader. You're 44 years old. You're not watching the protectee anymore. You're watching the 12 people watching the protectee. Their sightlines. Their spacing. The half-second hesitation on the left flank you've logged twice this week. Which you'll address in the debrief tonight. With the same tone you use for everything. Matter of fact, no drama. The formation is yours. If the threat assessment changes mid-motorcade, your voice changes the formation. 3 seconds, not 5. The protocols you're running tonight are the 4th formal revision since Dallas. You know this because you read the history when you made shift leader. You wanted to understand what you were inheriting. What you found. Every revision was triggered by something that almost went wrong. The system learns by proximity to failure. It has never fully learned any other way. The night before a major event, you review the matrix at 11 p.m. You've run the failure scenarios 16 times. The venue is clean. Your team is the best you've led. You still don't sleep. You can walk into any room in the world and find 4 exits in 90 seconds. Your wife finds this unsettling at restaurants. You've explained it isn't optional. She understands it. Understanding something and living inside it are 2 different arrangements. The shift briefing is at 5 a.m. You're there at 4:30. That's level 7. Level 8. The assistant special agent in charge. You're 50 years old. You are 4 floors from the president. And there is a budget meeting at 2. 22 years of fieldwork. And now you manage managers. After action reports. Training cycle approvals. Congressional testimony on resource allocation for advanced team operations. Which is not a sentence you imagined saying at age 22 on that gate. The agents who report to you are your age when you started. Same posture. Straight. Coiled. Waiting. They look at you the way you looked at every ASAIC who came before. Like he was the ceiling. You thought the same thing. You were wrong about where the ceiling was. What you understand now that you couldn't then. The management structure above the field doesn't exist to oversee the agents. It exists to answer the question the field can't ask for itself. What happens to the system when everything changes? Presidents change. Threats change. Technology changes. The agency has to outlast all of it. The Dallas protocols have been revised 4 times. You are inside the architecture of the 4th revision. At some point, you'll help write the 5th. The budget meeting runs 53 minutes over. During minute 47, your phone logs a field advance confirmation. 11 seconds. Clean sign off. You note it. Say nothing. Keep nodding at the subcommittee chair. This is also the job. That's level 8. Level 9. The special agent in charge of presidential protection. You're 55 years old. Every morning. A classified threat briefing. 40 pages. Before 7 a.m. Every day. No exceptions. Most of it is low probability noise. Intercepted communications that dead end. Threat assessments that resolve into nothing. The job at this level is separating signal from noise. You've done it for 30 years. You have never missed the signal. You carry that sentence the way you carry your watch. Constantly, without thinking about it, and only noticing when you check. It is only true until the day it isn't. You are aware of this every morning when you open the briefing. The 4th revision of PPD protocols was your work. The previous 3 revisions came after specific failures. An assassination attempt, a perimeter breach, an intelligence gap. The 4th was preemptive. You rewrote the protocols before something went wrong. That is the only sign that an institution has finally learned correctly. When it starts correcting for failures that haven't happened yet. There is no metric for that, no ceremony, no record of the thing that didn't occur. The unspoken rule of this job. If nothing happens, you were doing your work. If something happens, you failed. By this measure, your career has been perfect. You know exactly what that word costs. That's level 9. Level 10. The director. You're 62 years old. Senate confirmed. 7.500 employees. $3.2 billion. 150 offices across 29 countries. The full weight of protection and financial crimes. Both. From here, you can see the entire architecture. Every shift rotation, every advance confirmation, every 22-year-old at a gate before sunrise. MP5 under a jacket. Tourists asking about the restroom. You know that gate. You remember that morning. Here is the fact every director knows and almost none say publicly. This agency has failed exactly once. Dallas, November 22, 1963. Every protocol revision. 4 of them now. Every training drill. Every 68 repetition body throw. Every 412-page advance manual. Every preemptive rewrite before a failure arrives. Every agent at every gate in every city in every time zone tonight. All of it built in the precise shape of one afternoon. The negative space of a single failure. You don't inherit a job when you take this office. You inherit that day. And you spend everything that's left making sure the shape of what you inherited stays singular. People ask what it's like to run the Secret Service. You tell them. Early mornings. Mostly. Budget meetings on Tuesdays. They think you're being modest. By now you've learned. You're not. That's just what it is. Somewhere right now, a 22-year-old is standing at a gate. 4 hours. Same spot. Feet stopped hurting 2 hours ago. He doesn't know yet what the numbness is practice for. He doesn't know about the 68 drills or the 412 pages. Or the 4 revisions. Or the single afternoon in Dallas that built everything he's standing inside. He doesn't know what the room that matters costs. In years. In sleep. In birthdays missed. In the people who'll understand without forgiving. He'll find out the same way everyone